Hi, pleased you could come across, and I wanted to tell you about the CPD program.
Can you tell me more about the CPD program?
The program takes note of the fact that a lot of people working in the IT industry haven't got qualifications in IT. So people have stumbled into the industry. People have come straight from school, or they've got a degree in something else, or they've dropped out of a degree, and they're now working in the industry. And after a few years, people find they've learnt on the job, they've got quite far, but they haven't a formal qualification. And that lack of a formal qualification at some point in your career starts to act against you. You don't get the promotions, you don't move up. And it's quite hard if you don't have a formal qualification because you get blocked, you don't get the promotions. And to get a formal qualification halfway through your career is very difficult. You can either take a bunch of short courses, but the short courses don't add up to anything. You can do UNISA courses, which are fantastic, but very hard to study alone and to get through UNISA courses. So we've taken a WITS program called the Master of Engineering program, the MEng. And that Master of Engineering program is the prerequisite to get into it is you have to have a 4-year degree. It's a master's program. So you would need an engineering degree or an honors degree in computer science or information systems. And it's been on our books for many years, and we were finding that very few people were coming to do it because people didn't have the prerequisites. What we've done is we've created a bridge for people who've got experience. So it's quite hard for people to get a formal qualification. And we've taken a WITS master's program called the Masters of Engineering, and we bridge people into it. We use a rule that most universities have, which is called a mature student rule or differently qualified applicant rule. And it gives the possibility that a university can accept into a master's program people who've got 10 years of appropriate work experience if they've just got a matric, or 6 years of work experience if they've got a degree but not an honors degree. So it takes account of the fact that you're a more senior person, you're in your late 20s or you're older, and you've got experience. And we bridge people into a program. The bridge we call the CPD, the Continuing Professional Development Program, and it takes the courses that make up the core courses of the masters and teaches them as short courses. The master's program, the Master of Engineering, has a total of 8 courses or modules, and 5 of them are called core courses. And those 5 courses we've repackaged as WITS short courses. So anyone can basically come off the street and do those courses. But we teach them in the same class with the same lecturer, ending with the same exam as the master's course. So it's possible for a person to come, anyone to come in and do those 5 courses and to get accredited as having finished the short course. We then have a mechanism where we can use that to help people get into the master's program using the differently qualified applicant rule. So that's what the CPD is. The courses we offer are a first course that's a prerequisite for all the others, called Software Engineering Principles and Methods. It's a 6-week course. It begins at the end of January, and people come. It's a course that just introduces you to the general ideas of software engineering. We then have 2 more technical courses, and I'll come back to those, but those are both 13 weeks, and you can do one of those in your first year. They run in parallel. And then there's a course called Introduction to Database Systems, and a course called Software Project Management, and the two last ones are also 6-week courses. So you can do 4 courses in year 1, the 3 6-week courses, and then one of the more technical courses. The more technical courses are called Software Engineering, Design and Analysis, and Software Development Techniques and Methods. And those courses are 13 weeks long, and there's no exam in them. You would just do them as a continuous assessment through the courses. To do those courses, because they both depend very strongly on object-oriented principles, the major reason we find people don't pass those courses is they don't have a good foundation in object-oriented. And we do a skills test in November before the program starts to just check how competent people are in object-oriented principles. It's not a train smash if you don't pass the test, because then we've got another plan for you that I'll explain. But if you pass it, you can then do all 4 courses in year 1. At the end of year 1, you can then make application to be accepted into the master's program. And that acceptance is not based on me. There's a committee at the university that would then accept you. And the committee is very risk averse. So if you were to just apply off the street and say, I've got 12 years experience, let me in, they would probably say no, because they say, well, you know, who's this person knocking on our door and saying they want to do a master's at WITS? I'm sure they can't cope, we won't let them in. But if you come and apply having finished 4 CPD courses with a 60% average, you then have almost, not guaranteed, but a very strong chance the committee will let you in. Which means at the end of year 1, you apply to do the masters if you choose to. And then in year 2, you would do the technical course that you haven't done in the first year. Plus you can choose 3 elective courses. One is a course we offer called Software Engineering Selected Topics, and that's taught towards the end of the second year. And then you can pick any 2 other master's level courses from WITS. Lots of our students choose courses from mechanical engineering, from the industrial engineering program. There's management of technology, there's lean manufacture, there's quite a lot of nice courses that you can pick from there. So you could in year 2 do 4 further courses. There are also 2 capstone courses. A capstone course is something that synthesizes and integrates all the information that you've acquired. One's a design project and one's a research project, and they continue for the whole year. You begin in January. There's no lectures for them. You meet with a supervisor and you do your design and your research. Now, it's a bit intense to do both of those and 4 courses in year 2. You could spread it over 2 years. So you can, in 3 years, complete the Master of Engineering degree from the time you start. All the courses you pass as a CPD are given to you as credits in the master's program. So you can kind of get into, you prove that you can get into the master's based on your experience and having passed the core courses, or 4 of the core courses, with a 60% average. I must stress that we can't guarantee the conversion happens. It's a committee that makes decisions, and we put it forward. If for any reason they don't accept you, then you would either have to try again, get more experience, or do what they recommend.
Do you need to have a background in coding to apply for this program?
That's a great question. In fact, many people who apply to do the program haven't got a strong coding background. They might come from a database background or a COBOL background, and they've sort of not really worked professionally as developers. That's why we do the skills test, because those two more technical courses that I mentioned draw on a good understanding of object-oriented principles. The people who don't pass the skills test, we then let them use the 13 weeks that they would have been working on one of the more technical courses to self-study the principles of object-oriented. And the best way to get that is to start to do some programming. So we encourage them to get hold of a good object-oriented language like Java or C# or Python, and to start working themselves in learning to do a bit of programming, read up on it, and get some strength in object-oriented principles. We are looking at another program which will not focus on those two more technical courses, but will focus more on business analysis and other parts of the software life cycle. But that program's not yet in place.
Would you consider this a full-time course?
We do it as a full-time course, but most people do it part-time, and that's really why we do it. It's to give people who are working and find it hard to come back to university. So it's taught as a part-time course. It the classes run from 4 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon in the 6 weeks or 13 weeks that the course is being run. And most people will be working and will just come in for that. A very important thing about it is that although it's not a full-time course, it is very demanding. And the major reason why people don't pass it is not because it's conceptually difficult. People who've worked for many years will find the concepts quite understandable and will be quite comfortable with them. The major reason that people don't succeed is that they don't spend enough time on it. So we've got an expectation that every person doing the program will spend about 20 hours a week on working on material around the course. Lectures are a small part of that. It's Wednesday afternoons till about 4 to 7, 4 to 8, so 3 to 4 hours once a week in lectures. But there's a lot of group work, there's a lot of self-reading and self-study and preparing for things. And we really recommend that people spend about 20 hours a week, which is very easy for me to sit and say 20 hours a week. But what is 20 hours a week? It's 2 or 3 hours every evening if you are working full time, and it's a chunk of time every weekend. And you can't do nothing this week or for 2 weeks and then try catch up. So it is through those 6 weeks to put in that energy, to put in the 20 hours. It's also critically important to get that balance right, because if you've got a job, you've got a family and a social life, and you're studying, you have to get that balance right. And for many people, there's a moment in their life that works. If you've just started a new job and you've got very demanding pressure at work, it's probably not going to work for you. If you've got a new family, or if you've got complications in your personal life that you can't spend those hours, it's not the time for you. You have to find the right time in your career and your life to get that balance right. Also very important that your family support you in it, that they understand that you're doing it and why you're doing it, and that your work superiors support what you're doing. We've had many examples where people have kind of been in the program, and in week 2 or 3 of a 6-week course, their company expects them to go for 2 weeks to Cape Town to solve a problem, and they miss 2 weeks of lectures, and that torpedoes them. So you need your managers, you need your work colleagues, you need your family to understand that you're doing this intense thing and they're going to support you.
So what is the cost of this program, and is there any funding or bursaries that you can recommend?
The cost for the CPD is the same per course as the cost for the MEng, roughly. It's currently at about 13,000 Rand a course, which is the same as the equivalent WITS master's course. You pay for it per module, so you have to pay for it if you do 3 modules in the year, you'll pay for each of them one by one. In many cases, people's companies sponsor them. The programs become quite well known amongst companies, and if you are employed, my recommendation is to go to your company and say you are keen to do it, and they would probably give you a bursary to cover the cost of it. We actually haven't got any bursaries that we can offer for this, so you would have to make a plan yourselves. We are working on looking at linking this to various government schemes, and maybe in the future we will be able to offer some contribution towards the cost. But at this point you would have to make a plan yourself. In terms of application, just while we're talking about the costs and how you get in, we've got a website, so you go into jcse.org.za and you look on there for the CPD program. There's a PDF explaining what the program's about and what each of the modules is about, and you can apply on the website as well. Usually we close applications at the end of October. This year it's the middle of November, but it might change every year. So look at the closing date, and you just have to complete the very simple form and attach a CV.
Can you tell me more about the 5 modules?
Yes, it's taking you through the key things in the software development life cycle, which is really what software engineering is about. So the first course gives you a helicopter view of software engineering. It's called Software Engineering Principles and Methods. And it's a modern view of everything that goes into making up the software development life cycle. The course called Software Design and Analysis is exactly that. It sort of goes through how you capture requirements and how you do design. It touches on things like design patterns, but it's a modern course in how you design software. The Techniques and Technologies course is not really about doing the programming and stuff, but it'll take you through the current thinking in terms of how one develops and implements software, and would compare different paradigms and different ways of doing things. The database course, many of the people coming into our program have never formally learnt about data systems. So it's an introductory course to database systems. So it'll go through entity relationship diagrams and relational databases, but also has a modern twist of having big data and NoSQL and modern things in databases. And then the software project management is really about how one manages a software project. So those are the 5 core courses we give. Great. Well, I just hope that was useful, and I'm very keen to see the 2 of you apply, so thank you so much for your interest in it. If you do have more questions, the first place to look is on our website, so www.jcse.org.za, or here's my card, and please feel free to contact me or to talk to my PA and we can get you more information. And please spread the word about it. This is a very unique opportunity for people to land up with a formal qualification. So look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof, for your time.
Thank you. Cheers, Kim.
We'll definitely check the website and read more
Yeah.
about it.
Thank you, Justine. Thank you.